I've shared plenty of tips about going on a Royal Caribbean cruise, but what about the tips that a crew member would recommend to you? I've got 8 of them up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and there's no denying that the crew on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship see a lot of things in their time on board, including guests making mistakes along the way. One of my very good friends is Pippa Madden, who used to work on Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruises, and she did that for over 8 years, and now she has her own YouTube channel called Ocean Time, which I have a link to in the description below. And so I asked Pippa, what are some important tips that, as a former employee, she would see guests making mistakes of all the time?
Hi, Matt from Royal Caribbean Blog. It's Pippa from Ocean Time, and today I'm talking about 8 cruise ship tips from a former employee.
So today, she's got 8 things to do, avoid, or simply be aware of on your upcoming cruise vacation.
Be kind to the crew.
This one may seem obvious, but don't be rude to crew members. The crew works incredibly hard, and if there's a policy or rule you don't agree with, remember that the crew member is not the person that created it.
I can't stress enough, you get so much further by being nice.
So not only is it in your best interest to be kind to the crew members that are on board, it's also the right thing to do. If there's truly a problem that you run into and a crew member can't help you or you're getting frustrated with them, that's okay. Ask to speak to a manager kindly. Don't lash out. It's the last thing you want to do.
Tipping is important.
There's a saying that goes, money makes the world go round, and it applies to life on a cruise ship as well. The crew on board are there to work hard and service the guests who come on board. So tipping is appropriate in not only making a way to reward good service, it also goes a long way to making the crew happier.
If you wish to personalize your tip by giving a gift.
I think honestly most people get this about tipping, that it's something that's important, but there are some folks who believe that fundamentally tipping should be truly optional in the academic sense of the word rather than the practical sense of what it is right now. You might be right about that, but that's another debate for another day. But as of right now, gratuity is just an expected part of the cruise experience, kind of like here in the United States, when you go to a restaurant, it's just part of the dining experience. And if you're from a different country, I certainly understand there are cultural differences that are out there, but Royal Caribbean being primarily a North American cruise line, you got to go with the punches over there. Certainly some countries do include gratuity as part of the overall cost, like in Australia, but if you're going on a cruise out of North America, you should remember that tipping is important and expected.
Avoid getting sunburnt. I can't recommend enough, especially on the first formal night. Make sure, ladies, do wear sunscreen and not get burnt.
I've seen it, you've seen it, everybody's seen that one guest who clearly spent too much time in the sun or just simply forgot to put on sunscreen. I've even done this once or twice, and getting sunburn is an avoidable but commonly occurring issue that a lot of guests run into. Nothing ruins your beautiful cruise photos like a giant red sunburn, not to mention how painful it can be for the person who has to deal with it. So make sure you apply sunscreen and reapply during the day. I know it takes a little bit of time out of there. Maybe set an alarm on your watch, but it is so worth it to avoid the issues that can come up later on. Never mind the aesthetics of it in terms of your photos, but it's just painful and uncomfortable. So try not to get sunburned.
Fill out the post-cruise survey.
We talked earlier about the importance of tipping, but honestly, in the careers for these employees, I think the most important thing is that post-cruise survey. As soon as your cruise is over, Royal Caribbean will send guests a survey to get their thoughts on the sailing, and this is an incredibly critical tool for any crew member out there.
A tip is taking a photo of your favorite crew member's name badge, so it will be easy to remember their name and the spelling for the survey.
The reason why these surveys are so important is it goes right back to the manager of any crew member named in the survey, and this goes towards promotions and really continuing their career at Royal Caribbean. Not only can they move up in the company, but when they get for a new contract, these kind of positive survey results from guests really matter a lot.
Guest etiquette.
Remember, just because you're on vacation doesn't give you carte blanche to do whatever you want. Being respectful of guests and other crew members is really important during your cruise.
Please do not put your feet on the furniture in any bar or lounge.
And of course, guest etiquette is also about following the rules and the policies, like about dress codes and not wearing your swimwear where you're not supposed to, only smoking in the designated smoking areas, and otherwise just being respectful and following the rules.
Avoid guest services on the first or last day of the cruise.
I've got to agree with Pippa on this one 100%. All too often, I see people waiting in lines at guest services on the first or last day of the cruise, and These are lines they didn't have to wait in because if they had just taken care of it at a different time, they could have avoided waiting in line. This is all just about not wasting your precious vacation time.
I recommend taking care of the issues that you have on other days. And if you're up early in the morning or late at night, best time to see them as well.
Obviously, if there's an emergency, like you're locked out of your room or something else that needs to be taken care of immediately, you should go to guest services. But if you can help it, if you just have a general question, try to go a little bit later at a time when there isn't a line. Because again, during that first afternoon on board, a lot of people have some really common questions and they wait in guest services lines to ask them rather than maybe come back a little bit later. In addition, you may see crew members around the ship wearing a bright yellow shirt that usually says something like, "Can I help you?" or something to that effect. You can definitely ask them these kinds of questions. And as long as it's not a billing question or, again, CPAS, something else that needs to be physically produced, they can usually help you out with that as well.
Don't lie to Adventure Ocean staff.
So we already covered etiquette. So why are you saying, Matt, do we really need to cover lying as well as not part of guest etiquette? This is a little bit different. I thought this was kind of interesting that Pippa noticed this as part of something that commonly occurs among parents, I guess, in this situation.
Don't tell white lies about your child's birth date. Adventure Ocean has all their details.
You'd be surprised how often sometimes parents want to actually lie about their kid's age in order to get them into one group or another. Usually the motivation is they want to have one child be with another child who's in a different age group, and they want them to be in the same one. So they tell this little lie, "Oh no, they're born on this date, they're the same age, they should be in this group," when of course the staff is going to easily look them up in the system. In fact, they have to look them up in the system anytime they bring them in there. So this is just a waste of your time, quite frankly, and it's going to put you in a really, really awkward situation. If you do want to request having your kids in the same group, that's okay. You can ask for that. Depending on the capacity and how busy they are, they may or may not be able to arrange this for you. Sometimes they do it on a interim basis or a trial basis, but it is much better to ask than to try to lie your way around it.
You can tip the casino dealer.
So this next tip is actually something that Pippa noticed a lot because, of course, she used to be a croupier on Royal Caribbean ships. And in the casino, you can, and it's not actually not a bad idea, to tip the casino dealer during your play when you're at the table games.
If you want to play with the dealer, then when they win, you win. Or when you win, they win. Either way, it's a win-win situation. Tip the dealer.
So there you have 8 tips from a former Royal Caribbean crew member who has been there, seen it, done it, and reported back on it. And of course, big shout out to Pippa for helping us out with this particular video today. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like button below. Subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Pippa's channel as well, and also turn on your notifications so that way YouTube lets you know when we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.